Welcome, everybody. Episode 45 of How to Become a Sales Warrior. I'm your host, Eddie Pods. This is my coach,
Mark Simpson, Semp Holdings.
Happy holidays, Mark.
Happy holidays, Happy New Year, all that good stuff.
New version of why we're here. Give it to us.
New version. Well, listen, we're grinders.
No other way to change that.
Listen, we are grinders. We are folks that are working over the holidays. This
Every
is what
day.
we do. And the hope is that we can show a younger generation some of the things we've learned. Although I find that as I talk to some of my specifically kids that don't listen to me,
Right,
and all
you
the
know
knowledge that I
nothing.
might have. But yeah, that's why we do this, is to share some of the knowledge we have as real life, true grinding, working people, not driving around with Bugattis, or I can't even say the word.
No,
but
definitely
yeah.
not. Definitely not.
There
But,
you go.
You know, trying to make that difference. And we're at the end of the year. And, you know, for me now, this is a time to reflect on what we've done and where we're going to go. That's how I'm feeling these days. But, you know, Monday mornings, we start with our sports moment. Which one are you going with? I have two.
Well, the Giants have a quarterback, which is good. The Jets should fire their coach, which they won't. And it's still, more than anything else, I'm still pained by our beloved New York Mets and the decisions that have been made. So those are my sports moments.
I'm with you on all of that, but you left out my best one, which is your worst one. Islanders beat the Rangers, bro.
I didn't even know I still forget there's Islander
Didn't even
fans
know
here.
they were playing.
Yeah, that's right.
God, Madison got the alert. We had it on the TV.
Yeah.
We got the updates. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So every week we go into my book, How to Become a Sales Warrior. We pull a chapter out and we discuss something from the chapter. Today, no chapter. We're going to the acknowledgments. There's a page there of people who help shape who I am. Authority figures from dating back to 6th grade, when I was the first player in Wantor Little League history to get traded for two plays. And that coach was Kenny Mullen. And Kenny Mullen was the kid, Coach Mullen was the dad. And when he brought me on, he said, I know you're great. I do. He goes, but I'm going to put a team around you and we're going to win. And he let me be this little celebrity, but everybody else was in on it. And we had an amazing season. It was my best year ever as a ball player. We lost in the championship game, but that's okay. But he was someone who
Instilled confidence in you.
instilled the confidence that I reached the next level.
Which is a big deal, as you mentioned that as a child, but that's in the work environment today, when you have a boss that instills confidence in you, whether you're selling or just regular work, but having that confidence behind you is a big deal.
So that was my first passion. And my second passion, my high school printing teacher. That was my second passion. I started to really get into the print shop. We called it print shop back then. I had 5 years of print shop.
Okay.
And designing Led Zeppelin, everything from pads to posters to, but this was the first person who fueled my creativity in something other than sports, and it was creative. We had the typeset. We learned how to set the California typeset. We learned how to do lithography. It led to my first career in printing, and I was in it for 13 years. And to this day, still friends with him on Facebook.
And the fact that you give him an acknowledgement, I'm sure he appreciates that.
Still friends with him on Facebook.
That's great.
And he still has his 1966 convertible Camaro.
Okay.
Love that. Love that a lot. My Uncle Ron was just someone to look up to. I didn't really look up to my dad much, but my uncle was a genius, and he invented a circuit board for the washing machine that GE bought from him and basically put him on the map as this wonder kid engineer that eventually developed more product and created a business and was very large in the electrical circuit industry for many, many years. But aside from that, he had money. I didn't know anyone as a kid who had money except him. He had a country club where I'd go up and spend a week, and my cousin and I would go to the country club and sign for our burgers and fries.
Right.
He never lauded it over us. He shared it with us. And he taught me that you can be successful and share your gains with anyone who my brother worked for him every summer in high school. I worked from him when I left home at 17. Like, he was just always a giver. So he's passed, but still I like to acknowledge him because he showed me about how he was a smart guy. He wasn't a business guy, but he learned to be a business guy.
It's, I think one of our past guests mentioned how kind of as you grow and you evolve and you realize kind of the joy you take back in giving, and that's kind of what you're mentioning now. Kind of a lot of what what you've been doing, what I've been doing, especially you over the last 10 years, it's been giving back to various parts of the community. Trying.
My best friend Ron, you've met Rombo. This guy has been in my life since 1986. I can't even count how many. That's 38 years, whatever it is.
And counting for the Mets World Series, yes.
Yeah, and just you know, you have that one best friend that's there for your family. He's Uncle Ron to all the kids. There for every major celebration, always present.
Right.
So I just always give him a shout out because he was over on Friday for Christmas and still part of the family, and it's always good. And my last is you. You've become a great friend over the years, from our first days in the bubble and Hop Hog, watching our daughters play soccer.
Yeah, I won't get into it on film, but yeah, that's a memorable moment, the first days in Hop Hog, and I'll always appreciate that. And even it's just a matter of time, we've been in the city with a couple different situations, and, even South Carolina recently, and, just a matter of time till bigger and better things are coming.
It's there, but we have this. So if this is what we have for right now, if this is how we were meant to work together, so be it.
And I'm happy to be your co-host and honored that I was brought into this. It's nice.
All right. We are at tequila time.
Already, okay.
We're running quick. There's no action statement this week but there is a word of the day that I wanted to set up before we go to tequila time.
Okay.
So my word of the day is grateful. I'm very grateful for the holiday season I had, for my wife, for my kids, just being present, being happy, even with one kid that missed Christmas because she had the flu, but laid on the couch during the entire Christmas episode because she wanted to feel part of it, to all the friends and family that we got to see. So I'm grateful.
No, that's a good word. Look, this holiday season's tricky, right? Because there's a lot of people who go very depressed times. Right. I think also like January 1st is like, or January 2nd is like the biggest divorce filing day of the year or something.
Suicide rate.
But at the end of the day, there's a lot of things to be grateful for just across the board. And sometimes we can appreciate the little things. And listen, I don't mean to be hypocritical because I go through it too, but you appreciate the little things. So yeah, grateful is a good word. And it's one of those things you almost wake up every morning and be like, wow, you know what? There's a lot of shit going on, but you're grateful to be able to deal with it. And, so we should be very reflective and positive on all that stuff.
We have a guest today.
You know what? It's very interesting. So I just celebrated 8 years in my house. You were there when I bought it, right? My next door neighbor, right? And it, I'd say it took us a few years because I'm, you kind of know me, the quiet.
You're not, hey, buddy.
I'm not the most outgoing guy, but when you get to know me, like, oh wait, this guy's not a bad guy. So it turns out we have so many commonalities, and now we've just kind of really connected over the last year or two and starting to do a bunch of stuff. And little did I know, Paul Durante, did I say it right? Durante. Yeah, sorry, Durante. Is our guest, and if you couldn't dial up somebody who would be ideal as a neighbor, I think his work ethic, his passion, his family man. So it's worked out really well. Or literally, and we're not just neighbors. Like literally, when you're neighbors, but you're driveway to driveway. We're driveway to driveway.
No,
so yeah, it's fortunate where when you say grateful, I'm grateful for living in the community I live in, and the fact that I kind of have even neighbors that I've become friends with has been very great. And I think Paul's a very interesting story. What he's doing on social media and some of the risks that he's taken from a career perspective are very interesting. So I think it'll be a really good guest to get into today.
Two small worlds that Paul and I met 2 weeks ago at Adam Holz's HIA office network.
Yeah, and I think Paul was right? We did some of the backyard events that you did.
Oh, you were there too?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah, it's all coming together.
It's all coming together. And you talk about neighbors and grateful. We have the couple next door. They're about your age, 2 teenage boys at this time. But just the sweetest, nicest people you could imagine. And they came over and gave us this basket and had a card for Lexi because she drives the kid to school on bad rainy days to the high school, a $25 gift card. Just the nicest freaking people.
Right.
So the kid, the first snowstorm we had 2 weeks ago,
Right.
I was not shoveling. The snowplow was in the shed in the back. I said, Eli, how much? And he goes, I'll get back to you. He comes back and goes, $60. I'm like, ooh, wow. All right. I got a 5-car driveway. I'm like, go to it. I said, guarantee you 50. We'll see about the 60. 3 hours go by. The kid's gone. My entire place is clean to the nines.
Right.
I go make some hot cocoa. I get a plate of cookies to go find the kid. He's nowhere. I got to text his dad. Does your son want to get paid? Comes back over. I said, how much do you want? He goes, $30 my mom and dad said was fair. I said, $30? I said, no. I got 70 for you. A hot cocoa. You want some cookies? I made this kid's day.
Nice.
But he made my day. He cleared all that away.
Right.
I didn't have to do it. I didn't have to have the sore shoulders that I have right now.
Okay. Well, I know we'll be quick, but so quick side story. So it snowed a couple days ago, right? So obviously Paul and I are right next to each other. We'll help each other out, whatnot. So we have a neighbor right across the street, and it's got a circular driveway, right? And I don't really know him. We just say hi all the time. He's been there a few years. I don't even know his name. So I thought his snowblower is broken. And his kids are out there. So I'm like, screw it. I'll just start snow blowing his driveway. He's like, hey, looking at me like, what am I doing? Because, it's hard, especially so then, after about 5 minutes, he starts his snowblower. And I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that.
He was trying to get the kids to do some work.
Now I have to basically go be like, I apologize. I thought your snowblower was broken, but we have to figure out how to break that ice.
Oh, that's fun. So you broken ice over snow.
Broken ice over snow. There you go.
All right, we'll be back in 5 minutes. We're going to bring Paul Durante out here. We're going to do a little tequila time and talk some shit with Paul. Be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Episode 45 of How to Become a Sales Warrior. I'm your host, Eddie Potts.
Mark Simpson, Sem Holdings.
Who's our guest today?
Our guest today is a very special guest, Paul Durante, who is transitioning, moving over to the other side of the table from lending side to the agent side. Got a very interesting story, and look forward to chatting with him. Also happens to be my exact next door neighbor. So
awesome. Well, it's tequila time, so let's get our toast up in the air. Go. Happy holidays, L'chaim, all that fun stuff.
Been done.
It's not fake.
It's not.
Wow.
So tequila time on this show.
I thought that was a joke, actually.
Yeah,
no, it's real tequila.
It's real tequila.
Yeah. So tequila time is about doing something old, doing something new. I'm always trying to find something from my 61 years on life of being in business to what it's like right now being in business. So today, you could wait for reviews. You could wait. You could wait for them, or you could go out and pay to have them done. You could do it yourself. But I could go back 4 years ago. We weren't talking about reviews. We weren't talking about subscribing. We weren't talking about go to my channels, go.
Yes.
Right.
Where are you? I'm here. Am I right? I mean, this is new.
No, yeah, 100% right. Yeah, it's all new. And before we go any further, exactly, you could find me at Paul Durante Official on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and remember to like and subscribe.
We're going to give you time to do that.
That's okay. That's okay. That's all right. So but don't forget,
this is professional.
So I did that last week. The end of the year clip that came from TikTok that put together a nice collage of all of our stuff for the year. They asked me if I wanted to spend some money to get some views.
Yes.
I said, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. I think I spent $38 plus tax, and in a 6-day time, I got 300 views. I probably would have only gotten 10 on my own. So I took the risk. I'm willing to pay something I'd never done before. That's new.
Pay for play. Yep.
Pay for play, pay for views. Where is it going to lead me? I don't know, but it's real. We know. I don't think TikTok has the ability to just tick up your likes without it actually happening.
Correct.
So I believe they're real, and it's just something to work off of for the new year. We're going to jump into networking tip. Yeah. So you talk about going to a networking event. When you don't know people, you're uncomfortable.
You have to basically you have to mentally gear up and brace yourself. And,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So if you're that person that you don't like going to these things by yourself and walking in alone and trying to create that conversation, create your own posse. Bring your own people. Bring people with you.
Sure.
Create your own circle.
Sure.
Create your own sphere of smiles and laughing and drinks that maybe other people will want to come over and join your circle.
Yes. Well, absolutely. What I would say to that too, actually, a really long time ago at an early job of mine, a phrase that was told to me and has always stuck with me was never underestimate the value of a new relationship. Right? And it's always stuck with me because when you walk into rooms and people always, it's true, you go to these events, it's intimidating, and it's true, Mark has brought me out to some, and I know some people, don't know some people. So how do you acclimate yourself? And how you acclimate yourself, I've always found, is try to find common ground, whatever it is, because you can't be everything to everybody, but you can know, I like to think, a little bit about a lot. So, and just enough to kind of spark a conversation, what's common ground. I heard you mention before, Islanders, Rangers. Hey, I'm an Islanders guy. Beat the Rangers the other day. Things are looking up for us. But I think that would be, that's the approach I've always taken to networking, and just walking into a room and not knowing everybody is just try to find common ground, whatever that may be, and kind of, build off that, peel a couple onions back, and see where the conversation goes.
I could talk to you about your hair gel and get a conversation going. I'm not even kidding you.
Nice. Good product. Use it for a long time.
Let me just say, though, when you do bring somebody, right, one of the things I think is important is balancing. You kind of want to give them some space.
Sure.
And not be kind of your own little separate clique.
Yes.
So I think that's an important.
So, yes, for me, yes, I do. I want to create my circle. It attracts other people. I want someone who's going to be right there with me,
you want to attract,
engaged
but not intimidate.
Correct.
Yep.
And keep it loose and keep it that you want people to join.
Right.
So I don't do the separation. I try to create my own little sphere that I want to make people want to be part of. We're going to have some fun. We're going to have some drinks. And we're going to laugh.
Listen, I think no matter what, I believe in making an inclusive environment, whatever the case may be, whether it's networking, business, whatnot. I think if you can be transparent and inclusive, you almost like break the barrier down.
You will ultimately find people who you mesh with and who you gravitate towards and will do business with, right? I think a lot of people, for the most part, don't want to feel forced,
right.
To, hey, you should do business with this person. I think that's the downside, I believe, with some groups out there, is that no matter what it is, where you go with this group, is always a key group of people, at least what I've seen in my experience, who wind up being the people that, here's where the business goes,
right.
so on and so forth. So it's like, okay, I've always looked at it from a sales perspective. Why can't you just be your own person?
You're 100% correct, because there's some of the groups you do show up and you're like, all right, and then you feel like you're bothering them or whatnot.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you feel to yourself also, it's like, hey, and groups, to be fair, a lot of times will be what you make of them.
Right.
But then when you walk into certain groups, you realize, hey, listen, the core of this is really established. And then you look at it from an economics perspective, where it's like, hey, you can politely decline. And you also have to then, hey, if you're running a business and you're in sales, you're self-employed, you can only allocate a certain amount of dollars to marketing.
No,
and you have to, and marketing and time. And that's the whole, and where you're going to dedicate. It doesn't mean you can't, associate with those people, just mean that be part of that group.
Yep. Not a return on investment of your time.
That is correct.
Yeah, 100%.
That's correct.
Talked about that last week.
Yep, 100%.
All right, jumping into it, man. Big wins. Big wins. Well, I actually mentioned this before. My big win of the week was for my wife, who lost her dad at Christmas, to see all of her nieces and nephews and kids together on Christmas Eve at her dad's house for one last farewell. Yeah. That was a win. It meant a lot to so many people that were there, boyfriends and girlfriends and husbands and wives. And we got that one last photo. So the dad has a staircase that goes from the TV room up into the Christmas room. Right. And it's 10 steps. And they've been taking a picture there for the past 20 years, every Christmas. And almost every year there was, until a few years ago, they were all there. But that last picture, all 12 of them, and then we got my son in to make it 13. Then we got Kaylee's husband in to make it 14. But it was a win.
That's nice
for my wife. She needed it. She needed it. She lost her dad, best friend. So
it's terrible.
Big win.
Good. You know what? I like it. We're going to go personal side this way. So my big win is actually not being afraid to do something, meaning we're heading into the city for New Year's Eve.
Nice.
Which people, what are you doing?
You're not going. I know you're not going to
We're getting
Times Square.
escorted. We are getting escorted into Times Square. We have it all covered. We have hotel rooms. It's a whole big deal.
Can you see that from your hotel room?
We should be, well, not from the hotel room, but we should, here's the ball, we should be under the ball.
Okay.
So it's easy to say, it's a pain in the ass, I don't want to do it. It's too expensive, I don't want to do it. I figure, you know what, we got the whole group together. It's rare that we do it this way. All the kids can enjoy, and
Lori's kids are coming down?
everybody's going, that's right.
That's pretty cool. Now, did you book this privately? Or is it a...
Well,
to get in there is a big deal. I work for the TSA. I do my containers are on the street.
So there's relationships and family that basically control things that are basically getting us an escort in.
Are they part of Times Square Association?
That would be a yes.
They would be part of NYPD, yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's different than what I'm part of.
Yeah.
I'm part of the actual organization that puts on the event.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Wow.
So I have 23 pod storage containers on 43rd, 45th, 47th, and right in the middle of Broadway. We have 23 total containers.
Wow. I may need a container or two actually pretty soon. I'm going to project
Gonna
the house
love that.
shortly actually.
Gonna
So
love
after
that.
the
That's
pod, we
all
can
right.
talk about it. Yeah.
All right. I feel like we could
that's
go along
awesome.
here. But yeah, so yeah, we're doing that.
Best business decision of the week.
Best business decision of the week.
Oh, no, wait, I'm sorry. It was Big Win. It was Big Win. That was my next question.
Big win business decision is was launching my social media through all platforms. That was the biggest win. Been going on now for about 2 weeks. Over 8,000 views in just YouTube alone of my content. So remember to like and subscribe. And
Are you advertising on YouTube?
No.
Okay.
No, it's all organic actually. So for at least the first 30 days, going all organic, going to take the data, go back, what's working, what's not working.
So they're taking what they see on TikToks, Instagram, Facebook, and then they're going to your YouTube channel? 8,000 people did that?
I'm running the same content across all 4 platforms. So the same exact content, the same clip that you'll see on Instagram, you'll see on TikTok.
No, I get that, but you said that you had 8,000 views on
just YouTube.
On YouTube.
Just YouTube Shorts, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, just YouTube Shorts, yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and 33 subscribers all within the first week to 10
Let me
days.
break this down a different way. This is a guy who basically put his balls on the line, really, because he had a regular job.
Yeah.
Benefit the whole everything, and basically said, you know what,
I'm going to blow things up.
in essence say, hey, I'm going to take the risk.
Yes.
And so I admire that, because and we're not young, but we're not old. I like to say we're young, 31. If we could pass for that.
Yeah.
But the fact that this guy basically put it all out there.
Yeah.
And went head first. And really, so, real props to you. So I'm really,
No, thank you. Yeah, and I would say, it's like most. It's not. I can't say I've done it by myself. In the fact of I got a super supportive wife who's got the utmost confidence in me, or she just kind of is hoping and praying for the best. Either way, she's putting on a good face of believing in me, and she always has. Though I should say that been married 15 plus years now, been together 20, and she's been great. But she has the utmost belief and confidence in me, and that I'm going to be successful. So that definitely, I would say, makes it easier. But I'm passionate about it. Been passionate about my sales whole life, and it's one thing I look back at now. Even just starting up, let's say, my telling my story through social is that I should have done it sooner. But it's like anything else: going to the gym, training consistently, putting the reps in, showing up every day, consistently garners results. And there's no, you hear these things online, people, this is going to go viral, that's going to go viral. Show up every day.
Right. And you just sorry to veer a little bit, but when we talk about sales warrior, consistency and just the ability to show up. It's that simple.
It is.
But it's that hard.
Yes.
Right. So
Yes.
2.5 hours during the Giant game yesterday. I sent out 75 emails.
Right.
What am I going to do? Sit on the couch and watch a football game when I could multitask and get the same enjoyment?
Correct.
I don't know.
Correct.
All right. Best business decision of the week. Taking 10 days off at the end of the year to recharge. So I work on Wednesday. That'll be the one day I worked in the past 12. Taking it off.
Good for you.
Didn't even look at my work phone until 11 o'clock today.
Yeah.
And you saw I left my phones home to come here today.
Yeah.
So taking a week off, recharge. Not the business is going to be there when I get back.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was present with the kids, present with my wife, present with myself, just allowing myself to chill out.
Yeah, good for you in doing that. I could say, and my wife would attest to, and so would my kids, that I've pretty much been the dad who's always been working on vacations no matter where we've been. And again, my wife's been super supportive in the fact that I haven't had yet one kid of all three. All of them said to me at one point in time or another, "Hey, Dad, why are you always on your phone?" And that gets you right here.
Yeah,
every
they're not wrong.
Time. They're not wrong. They're not wrong, you know. However, my wife's always said to them, well, because Dad's doing that, that's why we're able to do this, right? So raising kids, and kids are very visual. They get an idea of, hey, what it takes to actual, you know,
Run a business.
input,
I run a business.
is outcome. But my best business decision of the week is being here with you guys, for sure.
We like that.
Yeah,
we like that.
100%. Absolutely. Thanks for the invite, and I appreciate being here.
What about you?
You know, so every now and then I got to pretend to be like a real finance guy for a second.
CFO
So
guy.
yeah, we're gonna all person. So all right, so here's what we did. So SEM, you know, is
Your holding company.
our business, and so one of the things, you know, that happens as you prepare a business to potentially exit. Not saying that that's going to happen, but we're moving the corporate structure from a New York-based company to a Florida-based company. Why, you ask?
I thought you would pick
Delaware's a
Delaware.
different situation.
Okay.
Okay. But when you go to sell a business, and you're probably familiar with this, and especially in the real estate
Sales
side,
tax,
the sales tax in New York versus the sales tax in Florida is an 8% plus savings. So a lot of times companies do this, but they do it too late.
I was going to say, is there a look back there with that?
There is no look back, but there is. You have to have like legitimately business in Florida.
Business activity.
Yeah, exactly. So we've basically set it up now, looking 3, 4, 5 years ahead for basically tax savings now. So that was a good business
Smart.
decision.
That is smart. It is
That's smart, and that's a learned behavior from past mistakes.
Yeah.
So you missed it last week. We have a new portion of our questions from our guests.
Okay.
So I've been sending out emails to my best 44 guests, trying to get them to ask a question,
Sure.
whatever it is. So John Bourne-Miller, he's Senior VP at Pods. He was on the podcast back in March of 2024. And he is the one who actually hired me. And he's really proud to know that he hired the guy that's been killing it for 15 years. And he said to me, after 15 years at Pods, how are you still on top of the sales team charts? How are you doing it? 15 straight years, #1 guy.
Yeah.
No letdown, no slowdown. Going to finish this year over $6 million. Next closest guy will be at 3.1. How do you do it?
How?
Doing this. Doing this.
So you show
working,
up.
working while I'm watching my games.
Right.
Watch 3 games a week.
Yeah.
It's 2 hours. I do 2 hours I try to do 2 hours. I try not to do the whole game, but that's what I did. Did the entire week off, 2 hours a day, no phone, planting seeds, soliciting new opportunities, not answering any phones.
Yeah, well, we're working when others aren't, right? That's the key. In multiple verticals, I've been successful doing that. When I first transitioned from the retail side of mortgage lending to the wholesale side of mortgage lending, and this is typical through cycles and seasons, people tend to take the summer off. Right?
So there's
Wow.
People take the summers off. People take these holidays off, right? And you kind of mentioned it just before, and I'm sure it's going to be fine for you. But the reality is, when you're away and your competition's away, and you keep calling on who people a lot of times in sales expect the sale to happen the first time.
No.
Plant seeds. You plant seeds, and then the reality is, this happens in sales a lot. Things could go wrong. I've always said, no fault of even the person who happens to be their sales rep. It may not even be their fault, but the reality is, people get upset and they want to blame someone.
And it's the sales rep who's got to
It's
sit
the sales rep who gets
Yep.
blamed, but if you're there and you're showing up when they're not, they're on the beach, and you happen to be at their office yesterday, they're going to give you a call.
Yep.
Hey, and they're going to give you a shot. And then the reality is, you have that opportunity, you're on stage, what are you going to do with it?
And you're answering when something does go wrong, and you're answering.
And you're 100%
yeah,
being
right?
there,
Yeah.
absolutely being
Right.
there, picking up the phone.
I don't
That's half the battle.
like having to deal with fires, but there are some days you could call me Fireman Ed. I know who he is. You could call me Fireman Eddie.
Yeah.
Where the entire day was a pissed off customer, and it's like, I just sit back. I didn't cause it. I can solve it. I could be nice about it.
Right.
We can move on. It's those are 4 things I can do.
Yeah, it's like hostage work, right? You want to take a situation that's here and then bring it down a couple of levels.
Well, but think about just in your regular day-to-day life when you have a problem at home, contractor, plumber, heater, and a guy just shows up. And actually shows up when they say they're going to. That's the bar is set so low.
You're so happy at that point. Yeah,
right.
Someone
The bar
is set so
low. The bar is set so low. And again, we go back to this podcast. A lot of what we do and we grind through is, if you call me, if you call me Christmas and I might be with a small face in the ER, it doesn't really matter. You'll still get a call back.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying that's right, and I'm saying maybe I'm a little bit overly extreme.
Yes.
But it sounds like, that's really the difference where you're basically working while others are not. And
No, I've taken phone calls out of the country. I've taken phone calls in Dominican Republic. I still remember way back when on a President's Club trip in Maui, and again, my now wife could attest to this. We're driving to breakfast in a Jeep through Maui, and this is good. I'm dating myself a little bit now. I had a bunch of pre-quals, and I'm like, oh, there's a Staples there. I got to make a pit stop at Staples. She's like, why do you got to stop at Staples? Well, I have to fax out a bunch of pre-approvals to people back here in New York. Had to fax out, a fax machine. So I found a Staples to fax them out there because Hawaii is 6 hours behind. So I'm like, when my New York clients are up already, they're working,
Yep.
So I did that, and then we're on the breakfast, and she kind of knew what she was, getting involved with at that point in time. But absolutely, being there and being responsive when others won't. It's not for everybody.
All right, you want to dig into it?
Sure. So, interesting story that you have. But take us back to when you started your career. What were you doing when you first started your career?
Keep it lasered.
Yeah, we'll keep it lasered for a second, actually. But I'm one of those guys. I was a paperboy kid. So I'll start
Penny
there.
saver.
Yeah, I was
Paperboy.
Yeah, there you go. So I was a Newsday guy, so I was a Newsday guy, paper out there. Fast forward a little bit. How did I really get ingrained in sales? How I really got ingrained in sales was a friend of my brother's owned a telemarketing company. I was in high school, so the choice was work at McDonald's, flip burgers, or get on the phone and read this script and talk about. Chimney cleanings it was. I was selling chimney cleanings, and it was paying $7 an hour plus commission. I thought this was the greatest thing in the world. And I happened to be good at it. I'm like, wow. But then the other piece of it, fast forward, is I was like most people, I was, this high school, athlete that all of a sudden didn't go D1, didn't go pro, and my dreams are crushed. And I would say there's a huge portion of people out there that fit into that bucket.
What were you playing?
Football.
Okay.
Football and lacrosse. But football was like my sport. Like I was that kid, I saw Vinny Testaverde on the cover of Sports Illustrated winning the Heisman Trophy. That was going to be me. It wasn't. So what do you replace that with? And what do you take that drive and that competitor that you could force certain things athletically? What could you transfer that into business? And again, they talk about that on the pro level all the time, how people transition. I think
a lot of athletes are becoming good
there's a much bigger pocket of people out there at the high school level, college level, that now what, right? So I had that now what moment, and sales is what it brought me to, where I was like, okay, I could force outcomes by effort. So if you could outwork people, if you could out-hustle people,
you took like the sports mentality of
took that same sports mentality and brought it to sales and into business, and that's certainly.
So how long? So you went right out of high school and you're basically doing telemarketing sales?
Yes, at a high school doing telemarketing sales.
What was your first paid sales job? Besides after that?
Sure, first paid sales job was a stockbroker. That was my first paid sales job.
Out of college?
Out of college, yeah. Out of college, paid sales job was a stockbroker. And then what happened, talk about how life takes you, was I passed my Series 7 right around 9/11. Right, 9/11 happens, market crashes, but also what happened, interest rates went down. Interest rates went down. I had a dear friend of mine tell me, hey, Paul, I know the stock market's not doing so well right now, but interest rates are really low. I can get you in this firm in New York City. I think you'll kill it in the mortgage business. And I did. So I took that opportunity.
You took the jump from being a stockbroker to mortgage lending?
Yes.
Got it.
Yes. Took this.
So were you on Wall Street? Or where was your office?
I was actually out in Long Island, actually.
Okay.
I was out in Long Island.
And because like in the early, like late 90s, early 2000s, there was a bunch of IPOs, so it was a decent time.
Yes, I wasn't involved in any of those firms, especially you hear those firms, you know, the Wolf of Wall Street firms, the Boiler Room, those movies are made about. I have friends who have spoken about working at those. I never did, wasn't employed there, yeah.
Got it, okay. So then you go into mortgage lending.
Yes.
Okay, and then how does that work out for you?
Yeah, worked out really well, actually. So working at a firm in New York City, was there for 2 years, worked for a small mom and pop mortgage banker where I would say I'd learned the business the right way. So he was doing what, let's say, these large firms do on a really small level. So he taught me about loans the right way, how to package loans, how they get sold secondary to Wall Street. So I took that knowledge with me. It was there about 2 years, and a friend of mine gave me a call, and it's funny how things go, and this actually was just on email, and he had left the firm and said to me that he left on this wholesale capacity side, and he was like,
so what's the whole difference between?
So wholesale, right? So retail is, hey, you come to me for a loan, I give you a loan, so on and so forth. Wholesale would be you come to me for a loan,
but you bring money with you, put it in the bank.
Well, wholesale would mean, let's say, who's the person actually then giving me as the lender the money to give to you?
Oh, you're just like the intermediary?
Correct.
Got it.
Correct. Yeah. So I was intermediary. I was wholesale. Now on the wholesale side, I just needed to know one product, one bank, but I need to articulate it to you so you could sell my product to your clients. That's what I had to do. So it was a huge opportunity there. And a friend of mine was working at this firm, no longer in business, but was also mentioned in The Big Short. So it was a big part of that there. However, he told me, he goes, Paul, listen, he goes, you would do great here. He goes, I'm like, I don't have any clients. I just know retail. I had one client actually here on Long Island who happened to be a broker. I had to get brokers in order to do that. Because Paul, I don't know, you're going to do great at this. I said, well, all right, maybe I'll give this a shot. So I did, and you talk about a life-changing moment. Taking a job at that same firm is where I met my wife. So now 3 kids later. And then as far as an opportunity was concerned, I was late 20s at that point in time. I was making low 6 figures at that point, so doing pretty well. Talk about taking a leap of faith. Again, friends and family looked at me and said, you're nuts, I can't believe you're doing this. Fast forward, income doubled, tripled. I was deep 6 figures 3 years later. So that was really a life-changing moment, but a moment where I definitely just bet on myself, put my head down, and talking about sales strategies. What did I do every single day?
Grind
every day, and did not go home off the street every day until I had a new broker signed up. Would not go home. Would not go home. I'm getting a new broker signed up, or I'm leaving with a loan. One or the other. At a real short point in time, within a year, I was top of my region. By the end of year 3, year 4, I was top person East Coast, top 10 West nationally, in short order.
And now
that was going into a market where people say, "Oh, it's saturated. There's so many people there." I'm like, why not? I'm like, I didn't show up yet. So that was.
And now you're transitioning it to something else.
Yes, so I'm taking all my years of experience in real estate and transitioning that to the other side of the table.
So this isn't the first. So in essence, you kind of have a playbook.
I do.
Right? Because in essence, you went from, you had a steady job, you gave that up, you went into mortgage lending.
Yes.
And then mortgage lending, though, you evolved a little bit, right?
Correct,
into a trifecta.
Yes. Yes.
Right. So you weren't, and again, and I kind of cheat sheet just because I know a little bit, but you weren't just basically writing mortgages.
No.
It was much more almost like a consultative,
correct,
almost like a financial planning guidance and whatnot. So how did that emerge where your typical mortgage guy just says, oh, here's your interest rate.
Right.
It sounds like you're saying, okay, well, here's the strategy behind this.
Correct. And I would say this, I've always been that type of person, and a lot of people within the mortgage business always get labeled as very transactional. And people didn't
very
get
fair. Very fair.
Right. Yeah. They get labeled as being very transactional. And I would say, if you kind of know what you want, like you walk into a store, and hey, I need a size large, whatever the case may be, and that, hey, if you know the product you want and the loan amount, and yeah, sure, someone could spit out numbers for you. However, what I would say is a lot of people leave money on the table by thinking that way. So a lot of the content I put out is basically based off of that you shouldn't think. Everybody's been programmed to think you should just take a 30-year fixed. Why? Right, but there's no thought put behind that, right? Especially where rates are today.
So, and I'm leaning on some of my own experience, so dealing with a broker. But you're, in essence, it's not really fair to say that because it's really more, it's a lot deeper conversation.
It is.
It's not just saying here's, right. Well, and that's the differentiator.
Yes.
Right, because in essence, it's okay. Your rate's 5%, 6%, whatever it is, but it's more saying, hey, what's your strategy, and how do we get tax efficiencies? How do we do portfolio planning?
Yes.
And that's really kind of what you've evolved into.
Correct. I evolved in that, and the last 5 years I was with a firm where I partnered strictly with private bankers, wealth managers, CPAs, business managers. So therefore, that's where I was able to really hone my skills in craft because it became a collaboration. So that's where I take it now. So now if I'm working with buyers and sellers on the same scale, hey, if you're looking to buy and people just think, hey, here's how much money I have, here's how much house I want, how can we make this happen? Finding the house, we'll find the house. We'll find the pretty house for you, or we'll sell your house and we'll get you top dollar for it. But what are your goals, right? And here's what your money looks like. And most agents can't speak to that point, right? They'll just speak to and they'll say, hey, I've sold this pretty house. And here's the reality, I'll always say this, and this is just the truth and fact, with the inventory that's here in New York and the lack thereof, there's more buyers than there are sellers. So if you have a really pretty house in a really great neighborhood that's priced to sell, guess what? It's going to sell. It's going to sell.
Let me ask you something. So again, you're doing really well in the mortgage lending space.
Yes.
What was the moment that you said, hey, you know what? I'm going to make a change again. Follow a playbook that you had success earlier in your career.
Yes.
And now kind of replicate this 10, 15 years later, do it again. What was the thought process?
Yeah, the thought process was, and you go and you have to do a self-assessment. And I would say that's really what I did. I did a self-assessment and looked at myself and I said, what skills do I have today that I'm not fully utilizing? And that's where it was like this, even being here. Being in front of people, telling the story, and taking the knowledge that I have and applying it and giving it out to everyone. That's the piece of the tape, the piece of the puzzle that I wasn't using as much. And I said, no, now I need to do this. And also I feel from an entrepreneurial perspective, it's a piece of the market that's not being spoken to. So to be very Shark Tankish, here's my idea, here's where I'm pitching it, here's what I'm doing.
Did you feel stale? Like when we kind of like bored or kind of felt like you weren't achieving where you need to be?
I wasn't moving forward enough.
Right.
I wasn't moving forward enough. That's what it was. And I would say if you look at most successful people, and I've accepted that in myself, I've always told leaders that I've worked for when I've had managers in the past, I said, here's 2 things you should know about me. I said, the first thing is I'm always going to be a top person. You're not going to have to worry about me showing up and working hard. I said, that's number 1. Number 2, I'm never going to be satisfied. So from a leader's perspective, how do I keep this guy hungry? And I realized for the most part, that's my own thing.
That's inner.
And that's inner. And that's okay. But I'm always upfront about that to people and let them know that's who I am.
And you realize, as you probably know this, it's very hard for leaders to actually lead and basically satisfy that ish of where when you have a true top performer.
Yes.
And you say, okay, how do you keep that person satisfied and hungry? There's a shortfall in this space in my world where you don't keep those people happy. And sometimes, and again, I get faced with this challenge, and sometimes I say, well, tell me how to do it.
Yeah.
You know, because it is a hard thing. And it'll never, top salespeople, or I don't want sales, but top people, performing people, are never satisfied.
Never satisfied.
And
I have said this before on this show. I've had a new leader every 2 years for the past 10 years. Not one of those leaders was a salesperson. Not one of them was a sales leader. They worked in other facets of the industry or this and that, but since Clive was on our show, senior VP, amazing guy. You met him on the show. I motivate myself. I lead myself. Mm-hmm. I take myself to the water. I drink it. I put the numbers on the board. I do it myself. I don't need someone standing there.
Right.
You can have it. You can have it both ways, where that person isn't giving you it the way you want it, but they're giving it to you and it hurts.
Yes.
Or they're just leaving you the fuck alone and letting you do your thing.
Yeah.
And I am happy as a clam about that. As much as I want leadership, I'd rather have no leadership than shitty leadership.
Well, yeah, I would say this, and it's the flip side too. A lot of times people take that as, arrogance or confidence, so on and so forth. And I would say, yeah, sure, it's a quiet confidence, but it's intimidating to some people because it also implies sometimes that maybe you don't want feedback. No, I want feedback.
I do.
I do want feedback.
Exactly.
Like the last thing I want to do is get off a call and be like, so hey, what can I help you with? And what do you have feedback? No, I don't have any feedback. What do you mean you don't have feedback?
Right.
Right. Like I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect.
And again, I think you learn, but I think sometimes you have people in leadership positions that have a level of insecurity.
Yes.
And that insecurity, and again, as you become more seasoned and senior, you can kind of see it and identify it and, realize that their insecurity shouldn't hold a top performer back.
Agreed. Yeah. So at the end of the day, you look at yourself too. We talked about it earlier, being in rooms of people. You want to be in the rooms of people that you want to be with.
Right.
And
couldn't agree. At this time in my life, I call it the no asshole rule.
Correct.
You really kind of want to be around people. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to be more.
It's the Albert Einstein rule. If you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Correct. Yeah. No. Agreed. So you want to. You have there's only so much time in a day, and you want to be in places and be around people that you want to be with. And I don't think that's being rude or anything like that. Just I call it just respect for time.
Yep.
That's all it is.
Yep. Well, I know respect for time. I know we're running a little late.
Questions. Yep. Last two questions.
So, with everything you've done and doing, where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Yeah. Wow. Great question, actually. And I'll answer that twofold. I would say in the next 12 months, I want to look back and be like, wow. Right. I'm really interested to see what is 12 months consistently of doing everything that I'm doing now. What is that going to look like? What's the result it's going to yield? And I'm pretty confident about where that's going to be. That's a short-term goal. But in 5 years from now, honestly, I see myself being a true powerhouse on the real estate side, on the agent side, leading a large team here in the New York tri-state area, and easily I would say running $150, $200 million type of operation throughout. That's the goal. But I know in short order that will happen.
He's a real sales guy because he puts the numbers out there. I didn't have to fucking ask him for them. Yeah. He puts the numbers out there. How many times I bring people in there? Give me numbers. I want numbers. I'm a numbers guy.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
I would say, Paul, you're very seasoned, very professional, and I hope that we can play this clip 5 years from now and look back and be like, look what this guy did.
All right, last question.
Yeah.
You could sit down and have dinner, breakfast, lunch with anyone past or present. Anyone in the history of the world. Who do you want to sit down with?
Past or present?
Yeah, dead or alive.
Dead or alive. Now that you just opened it up a little bit more. Wow. Alive, probably, this is not going to be a surprise to some who know me, probably Tony Robbins.
Okay.
Probably Tony Robbins.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and I would say why is you talk about evolution and being and you see a lot of people online now, and I always go back to everybody is somewhat a disciple of him, right? And however with him though is it's always been very simple, is that it's set a plan, take action. What are you doing each day to go towards your ultimate goal? And that's what I've always pulled from him, and everybody else you see out there, influencers, so on and so forth, is taking some form of that and repackaging it and putting it out there.
And putting it out as their own.
Putting it out as their own.
They invented it.
And he didn't invent it either, but he's the first to actually say, if you take these...
He corralled it,
and apply it to your life. Here's what your life could be. What's your goal? It doesn't have to be just money, right? So that he would be one, because this wouldn't be enough time.
Well, we are at the end of our show. We're actually over, which rarely happens, but it's a good thing. I want you to look into that camera. Introduce yourself one more time. Tell us how we can find you.
Yeah, hi, I'm Paul Durante, and you can find me on Instagram at Paul Durante Official. Same on TikTok, same at YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Mark Simpson from SEM Holdings, www.semholdings.com, 917-414-4027. We handle all your outsourced loss prevention needs around the country.
I'm Eddie Pods, your host. If you need a pod storage container, you got me at eddiepods@gmail.com. But we would really love for you to subscribe to our channel on YouTube. If you want to listen to us, we're also on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Applecast.
Great.
Thank you. We'll see you next time.